couple of them have already done their presentation rubrics. And so they were like, well, so I tapped them into it. But I want you to open back up your books to page 50. Open back up your classwork notebooks to that page we're working on. Ryan, go ahead and grab your stuff.
Okay.
And Cindy and Leslie, can I have you guys come up first? Now, guys and girls, this problem is the calculator problem. And remember that as audience members, you are very responsible. Oh, I have a couple people who aren't showing me goodbye language, so I'm worried they're not going to show these guys. When they're presenting on this problem. Calculators are on sale at a price of $1,000 for 20. How many can be purchased for $1,250? Write and solve a proportion that represents the problem. I asked Cindy and Leslie to come up and share the proportion that they wrote and the reason why they wrote the proportion the way they wrote it. So, generally, you guys are wonderful audience members. Remember that afterwards, we need a question or a comment or a couple of questions and a couple of comments for Cindy and Leslie. Also, remember that this is part of your presentation rubric, and so you're an audience member right now. It's your job to be tuning in, comparing what you thought, what they wrote, and kind of learning through their presentation and the comparison to your own work. So, you may begin once you have your class's full attention.
So we put the 1,000 and then the 20 calculators with one. Then we did an equal sign of. And then so we had to find how many calculators. So we thought, well, 20 went into 20 calculators equal 1,000. Then we found 400 equals 200. So 4 calculators is for $200. And then 1 calculator equals 50. So we put 20 plus 4 equals 24, and then 1 is 25. So, and then the total price equals to 250,000. So it'd be 25 calculators.
Wait, before we clap, what do we gotta have?
Comment and a question.
Comment and a question. Chris? No, go ahead and ask. It's okay.
Never mind.
Never mind.
No.
Jay?
What?
Oh,
Oh yeah, 1. Oh yeah, I see what you did there. Never mind.
Now remember, guys, you could use that I agree with because or I disagree because or a question, but we need to have one comment or question from our audience.
How did you figure out that $50 is how much one calculator cost it?
because we divided 1,000 by 20. I got it.
Why didn't you show me?
What?
Well, and Trey, I think you caught yourself there. You said, why didn't you show your work then? And then you said, never mind, because it wasn't an exactly appropriate question. Especially, I asked Cindy to share the proportion, and so she's sharing what I asked. They did some computations and could have that on your paper. Raise your hand if you did something similar. All right. All right. So we've got money to calculators. That was the known on the left side compared to money to an unknown number of calculators, and that was on the right-hand side. All right, give Cindy and Leslie a question. Oh, we can do better. Devin, Caleb, and Chasquet, let's have you guys hop up and share the proportion that you wrote. All 3 of you. A couple can go up for moral support. You don't want to? That's okay. All right, thank you. Now, guys, If you don't have a proportion written for B1, pay special attention to which one makes more sense to you. Because you have to have one. These are going to be two different choices. Go ahead, Chaska, when you're ready. Oh no, that's okay. All right, tell us about how and what you did.
I want 1,000 divided by 20. Oh no, divided by 50 because that's one of the answers.
So you did 1,000 divided by
20.
20, okay.
I mean, I didn't do that. Okay, I did 20 times 50 because it equals 1,000. That's how I get that. So then I figured that if you do 25 times 50, it equals 1,250. So one of the answers was 50.
So one of the cost of one calculator was $50.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then you got the same answer that Sydney and Leslie got of 25 calculators if you spent $1,250.
Yes.
We need one comment and one question for Caleb, Devin, and Chasky. Trey?
Why did you guys do it a different way than Sydney and Leslie?
That's the way you roll.
Is it okay the way that their group did it?
No, I'm just wondering how it came up.
Does everyone see how Chaske's group did calculators to calculators, money to money?
Yeah.
But the 20 still corresponded to $1,000 and 25 still corresponded to the more expensive 1,250? Take a moment to do some private think time. Which of these two, well, before we do that, let's go ahead and clap. Like, Ellen, nice job, group. Thank you for sharing. Take a second. Both of these are very, very valid ways to solve the problem. Like we talked about yesterday, sorry, Erica. Like we talked about yesterday, we have, as long as we're connecting that ratio of 1,000 to 20, we can connect it across, or we can connect it in fraction form. Oh, I've got terrible body language. Maybe if I come up here. Sequoia, Trey, up here, please. So 1,000 is connected to 20. That was given in this first sentence. Calculators are on sale, and they give you that. That's something we know. Those two things have to be connected. Chasque connected them across. He put both of them on top. So we were comparing 20 calculators to $1,000, 25 calculators to $1,250. As long as what's given is connected and you keep that relationship, you can set up your proportion in lots of different ways. In your next problem, you're going to be dealing with country music. We talked a little bit about this one yesterday, I think, but not very much. So you're going to go back now and work more with your group. As you do, think about, okay, I got to set up a proportion. What would Sydney do? What would Chasque do? You have kind of their thoughts now in your brain from their presentation, and so I'll leave this up as you move on to B2 and beyond. By the time you leave class, you should have started, if not finished, letter D. Which letter was that?
B.
C.
Ah,
C. D, as in dog. Remember we started off with a story about dogs today, or sort of. And so, as you get started, be working with your table group, making sure to involve each member, And continuing, you've got about 10 more minutes of class time to work. You should be at least started on letter D. Go ahead.
We're starting on B.
20% of American radio stations. There are about 10,600 radio stations.
Erica. Scott, how many stations produce cards?
Miss Erica.
I think it's
10,600 divided by 4.
I should have given back this.
is this yours?
So you guys did it more like chess game.
We did.
You did. Except, no, you guys almost did it exactly like chess game. That's kind of cool to compare.
Oh.
Those back.
I do.
We get conventional.
You sure can. Go ahead. Did anybody read out letter B2?
Country music is primarily to 20% of American stations. There are about 10,000
Where is your proportion for B1?
What?
You wrote your proportion for B1? Did you use Chascay's or did you use Sydney's? You used your own. Which one was it more like? Sydney made money on top, on both the left and the right. So you used more like Chascay's. So did anybody read out letter B2 out loud? Will you do it for us, Casey?
What's an L?
Country music is the primary market of 20% of American stations. There are about 2,600 radio stations focused on country music.
1%. That's how I figure it out.
What is 20%? Is that a number we can use? Because right now we're only told 2 numbers, right? How many numbers do we usually start with in a proportion? How many did, well, if those guys put in their answer, can we look at yours?
3.
Yeah, because usually, like we were given the 20 to 1,000, and so we're usually given like 3 numbers, but in this case, we're only given 2 numbers, the 20% and the 10,600. We must need a little bit more information. What else do you know about percentages? Is there another way that we could write those?
Just this. Divided by.
Pose. 0.2.
Alright, you see,
I want you to think about that idea, and I don't want to tell you too much or guide you too much, so I'll let you guys figure it out a little bit more. Is that okay?
You divide it.
I did 2,600 divided by 7.
Yes. Sorry, it wasn't clear. I want you to go through B, like get to D by the end of the argument, but start with B2.
Divided by 10,000
How many patients? Okay.
10,000 is 2,000.
I don't know if they got that. You're gonna have to figure out a way to show you. They did. Oh my gosh. Did they do it right? You don't think they figured out the answer? Do you guys have an estimate for these?
No.
I think it's 2,000.
2,000.
Because 10,000 divided by 20 is 2,000. 20%. It's like 10. It's like 20% out of that.
20. Let's think about that. 20% of 10 would be 2. What would 20% of 100 be? What about 20% of 1,000? So 20% of 10,000. 2,000, so your estimate is around 2,000. That makes some good sense. There's an extra 600, so we're going to have to figure out how to use that. But you also have to set up a proportion.
I've got the answer. Okay, so 20% is we go by tens. So we do 10,600.
As you do this, you're going to stop and look at these guys and ask them if it makes sense. Okay, so keep going. 20% is 1/5. How did you get that?
I know how to do 20%.
Okay, well, not doing it. But she wants you to scale it up. So if you scale it up, what number can you multiply it by?
Oh my god.
What number can you multiply it by? So 20 goes into 105 times. So we do, he's saying 20% is the same as 1/5.
So if we do 10,600 divided by 5, because
I don't know how
one
Okay, so number 1 equals.
Okay. So don't forget you have to set up a proportion, and I want you to be looking at that also. But go ahead and talk a little bit more, and then I'll stop back.
to solve a proportion on B1.
Does it not say that on B2? You might have a.
It says only about how many fire stations focus on current.
So if you can answer it without a proportion, then that's okay, I guess. Does that make sense about the 1/5?
2001. Oh shoot.
Are you guys talking about
Aha! Oh my god. Okay.
show me your work?
You want something. So much junk. How do I show you?
Show me with the arrows.
Ouch.
So we go like times 4, and then 5 times 4. So shoot. So write that proportion and then show me your work.
20. 2 is
All right, ladies and gents. Eyes on me in 3. Finish your thought. As I look around, we've got some writers, so finish your thought. As I look around, guys and girls, you did an outstanding job of talking to each other today and solving proportions. Proportions are not an easy thing, and you guys made them seem like they were pretty easy, so that's really cool. Chris just asked a really good question. He said, how do I show my work? He had 8/5 and went to 32 over x. How could you show your work on this so that I understood your thinking? Does anybody have any ideas? Arrows. So, Chris was saying, well, 30 to get from 8 to 32, that's by times 4. So I said, make an arrow and write times 4. Make an arrow down here, write times 4. So, to get from 8 to 32, we're scaling it out by a factor of 4. 5 times 4, well, that's 20. So x is the same as 20. You may clean up your things and put away calculators.